So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We've finally reached the day of the James Cameron interview. We've had 20,000 votes from all of you guys on the internet. And finally, I've got the top 10 questions to ask James. Here we go. What inspired you to make Avatar?
Well, that's going to be a longer than 1 minute answer. Yeah, I was really inspired by my love of the natural world. As a kid, I was basically a nerd that spent all my time out in the woods. I love being alone out in the woods, collecting bugs and frogs and things like that. And at the same time, I was growing up on a steady diet of science fiction. Loved reading it, loved watching science fiction movies. So you put that all into a blender, and you spin it up, and what you get is Avatar.
Fantastic.
There was no sort of one point inspiration. It was a collective of many things.
Yeah, I mean, Avatar is obviously visually stunning, and congratulations on the Oscars as well for that. We've got a question here from someone in California called Rich P. They said, what do you consider to be a good successor? Now, you've set the barrier so high. Do you think there can be a successor to this film in the quality of the 3D?
Oh, absolutely, sure. I mean, I have a number of projects in mind for a next film, one of which would be a second Avatar film. And, I think we know exactly how to achieve the visual quality that we did on Avatar. The trick to it is creating a story that's both satisfying enough and surprising enough to justify doing a sequel, which is something I'm working on.
When you were creating the film, did you imagine the society on Earth in the future? Were there other colonies other than the one on Pandora?
We got a real science fiction fan here who wants to know a little more about the universe. I visualize a future for the purposes of this film in which there are no other star systems that are currently colonized except for Alpha Centauri. But our Alpha Centauri star system, because it's a binary star, it's actually a trinary system, but it's there are two suns, Alpha Centauri A and B, and they have a number of planets, and around those planets a number of moons, and it's a quite complex system. The idea is it's the closest star system to us, and we've found something unbelievably valuable there, a second Earth, a very Earth-like world, and one that has incredibly valuable resources. So we've focused our attention on that, and we've created our interstellar commerce economy based on going to the nearest star system. But, for purposes of subsequent stories, there's plenty in the Alpha Centauri AB system to keep us busy for 20 movies. We don't have to go zapping all over the galaxy. That's not the point of this. The idea is to create a slightly more realistic future interstellar economy.
And obviously with this came quite an environmental message through the movie. Do you plan to enhance that message further than the screenplay, sort of following this film?
Well, I mean, I'm very involved right now with a number of environmental causes that have approached me because of the resonance between Avatar and their particular cause. For example, indigenous rights in the Amazon basin and things like that, and global warming and deforestation issues and so on. So I'm going around doing speaking engagements. We're going to be releasing the DVD on Earth Day, which is a great opportunity to remind people that Avatar is an environmental film. It's not just a big science fiction action adventure. It's a film that has these other themes in it, and these are things that we all need to be thinking about.
Do you think that might be included in the special features sort of thing of the DVD?
Right. Now, the DVD that we're releasing on April 22nd is the movie with no special features, just the movie. But it's just the movie. There's no kind of crap trailers all running up to the start of the movie. It's you put the disc in and it's the movie. Yeah. It's a very pure experience of the film, properly authored and so on. And the reason I want to do that is because then we're going to do this kind of Uber box set for the holiday season later in the year. And right now we're preparing all the additional scenes and all that sort of thing. And I definitely want to include stuff that is about the kind of the environmental themes of the film and how Avatar maps to real issues in our world. right now, with the idea of the amount of forest that's being destroyed, what the negative impact of that is going to be to all of us everywhere, even if we don't live next to that forest, what the negative impact of displacing these indigenous cultures or destroying their habitats, what that is for everybody, how we all lose.
And I admire the way you sort of wrapped it all up in Avatar, which isn't completely obvious in your face, but it does have these subtle messages of this.
Right.
I think it's fantastic.
I think it's interesting that you can have a film like Inconvenient Truth, which actually gives you a lot of facts, but it's not a particularly emotional film. In fact, it's not emotional at all. Avatar is exactly the opposite. It doesn't give you any facts at all. It assumes you know the facts or you know the issues. It gives you an emotional context. It gives you a sense of, let's say, almost moral outrage when you see the tree destroyed, when you see the people gassed and displaced from their ancestral home and so on. And out of that sense of outrage, you then evolve to a sense of triumph and hope, because good conquers evil at the end of the film. I think you put those two emotions together, and it could be effective in galvanizing people to actually do something, in a way that having all the facts only triggers a sense of denial.
When we continue to follow Jake and Neytiri in the upcoming film, will we see flashbacks of Jake's previous life?
That's something I'm toying with, but I haven't made a decision about.
Okay.
In other words, do we see Sam Worthington appear in a photographic form?
And previously to his escapade on.
Yeah, well, he's a good-looking bloke, and it would be nice to put him on camera again, but we don't need to. I mean, probably the story will progress forward and not necessarily go into flashback. That would be my guess right now.
Okay. So I assume that he won't be ever. Is he locked in the Avatar body now, and you don't?
His human body's dead.
It's completely gone forever.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you very much. I look forward to the sequel, James.
Yeah.
Thanks
okay.
for talking to
All right.
YouTube.
Well, we'll get
very
after
much.
that.
Thank
We'll
you.
get right on that.